For anyone who isn't familiar with the concept, a recursive translation is when something is taken from one language, translated to at least one more, and then converted back to the source language. The results can be quite interesting. Anyway, let's go.
Mad like a hatter. As Batwoman continues to protect the streets of Gotham, Batwing joins the action, but Luke quickly realizes he hasn't mastered his suit yet. While Alice is hopelessly trapped in Arkham, Sophie takes full advantage of her freedom. When Ryan visits Alice to ask her about the bombshell she dropped, that Ryan's mother is still alive, Ryan must decide whether to return to the rabbit hole of his past. As Mary prepares to graduate from medical school, she feels the absence of her family more than ever. But when an admirer of Alice's come across one of the missing Bat trophies, Gotham and the Bat Team descend into madness, leading to a shocking and terrifying conclusion, and an equally shocking new partnership. Tooth loss. When a new incarnation of Killer Croc emerges from Gotham Swamp and begins collecting corpses, the original team of Batwoman and Alice are put to the test. But Alice isn't the only unwanted intrusion into Ryan's life when Jada Jet shows up at Wayne Enterprises and insists on meeting the company's new CEO. Luke and Mary's relationship is strained under the weight of a secret Luke is hiding, while Sophie becomes part of Ryan's inner circle. Freeze! An unfortunate incident in downtown Gotham City alerts Batwoman and the Bat Team that another mission trophy has fallen into the wrong hands. Meanwhile, a new member of the Jet family arrives when Mark Jet makes a not-so-subtle appearance and interrupts a very personal moment between Ryan and Jada. Back on the road, cryogenics is called for, and Sophie reminds everyone that she's tough, especially in the middle of life-threatening situations. Batwing must decide if she's ready to suit up again. And at Mary's clinic, the Hippocratic Oath creates a moment of sisterly tension between Alice and the new doctor. Antifreeze! When Ryan appears on Gotham's 30 Under 30 list, Luke worries about how Mark's involvement in Ryan's growing popularity as interim CEO of Wayne Enterprises will be received by Jada. Mary returns from a long night of illness, while Alice's hallucinations become more intense. And when Sophie's sister Jordan goes missing, she and the Bat Team quickly discover that Freeze's missing gun wasn't entirely contained. A lesson from Professor Pig. Ryan asks Sophie to join her for dinner at Jada's to find out what her estranged mother knows about Wayne Enterprises. But the evening takes a turn when an uninvited guest shows up for the intimate rendezvous. As the painful evening progresses, Ryan discovers another side of Mark and his mother. How is your garden growing? A disturbing discovery in a garden shed causes Renee Montoya to rush to Ryan to make sure the town is on alert. His terrible theory is that a trophy bat has confused a new host and its thorny trail is winding through Gotham. Alice is strangely eager to help the Bat Team, while Sophie seeks revenge for an incident with her sister. Choose your poison. As Ryan's family dynamic becomes more complicated, she too finds herself in the middle of a Bat Team clash between Luke and Mary. Meanwhile, Alice finds a new friend who will grant her wishes. Trust fate. Mary and Alice continue their brotherly bond. Ryan, Luke, and Sophie are desperate and willing to do almost anything to stop them, even considering a dangerous suggestion from Renee Montoya that will finally rid Gotham of Pamela Isley. As the team searches for the source of Poison Mary's power and her possible downfall, Renee is forced to revisit her harrowing past. Meanwhile, the increasingly embarrassed Mark throws a dark and spectacular party at Wayne Tower, and everyone is invited. Meet your maker. Ryan, Sophie, and Luke attempt to track down the OG Poison Ivy when all signs point to Pamela Isley's reappearance in Gotham. At the same time, Mary feels drawn to a powerful force, and Alice suddenly feels very protective of her half-sister. Meanwhile, Jada doesn't give up on rehabilitating Marchese and seeks help from an old friend. Toxic. Batwoman has her hands full as she juggles Jade's demands, Mary's growing power, and a new romantic involvement. Loyalties are tested and motives questioned as Batwoman races against time to once again save the city and those she loves. Broken toy. Just when it seems like things can't get any worse, Batwoman's identity threatens to be revealed once again and some of Gotham's villains unite. Sophie accompanies Locke on a mission and Alice enters Mary's head. We're all crazy here. Ryan, Sophie, and Jada team up to come up with a plan to stop Mark. Mary tries to undo the damage she caused as Poison Ivy. Alice continues to lose control and battle her mental demons. Aren't we still having fun? Batwoman and a panicked Bat Team must race against time as Mark's new nefarious plan leads to something Gotham never imagined. A final brother-sister confrontation puts Ryan's life and his new love in danger. Armageddon 1. When a massive alien threat arrives on Earth under mysterious circumstances, Barry, Iris, and the rest of the team are pushed to the limit in a terrifying battle to save the world. Armageddon 2. Desperate warns Flash that a big disaster will happen soon and make him lose his mind. After that, Armageddon will begin. Barry is desperate to convince the criminal and prove his innocence, but a devastating revelation from Iris pushes him over the edge and sends him seeking advice from Black Lightning. Armageddon 3. Things take a turn for the worse when desperate Barry meets Black Lightning at the Hall of Justice. Meanwhile, Iris suspects that something is wrong with Desperon's vision, so she enlists the help of a powerful ally. Armageddon 4. Barry is surprised when Evert Thawne returns unexpectedly and bails on his girlfriend. Damien Dark gives Barry some advice, but it's tough. The main battle begins with Reverse Flash vs. Flash, Team Flash, Batwoman, Vigil, and Ryan Choi. Armageddon 5. It's an opportunity for the Flash to end the fight of his life with the Reverse Flash once and for all, but the payoff may be too much for Barry and the team to handle. Meanwhile, Queen Mia comes from the future to save the face of her lost loved one, and nothing stands in her way. Hypermotivational disorder. After returning home to visit their parents for renewal, Bart and Nora quickly realize they don't quite understand what they've left behind. 2 types of fixing cracks in the schedule and restoring everything as it should be. Buckle! When a criminal invades the CCPD, Barry and Kramer must trust and believe in each other if they want to make it out unscathed. Meanwhile, Caitlin learns a big lesson with Snow, and Marco enjoys it. Hot again! Barry trusts his instincts in the murder investigation and believes the suspect, despite overwhelming evidence against him. Meanwhile, Iris offers Allegra a chance to counsel. Phantasms. Barry and Team Flash come close to finding the fire target, but no one comes close. Meanwhile, Iris, needing a distraction, follows the story to Beach City. Not consciously. Barry's desire to keep Team Flash safe is proven when Purina puts herself in danger trying to extinguish the Black Flame. Meanwhile, Iris tries to reunite the teenage girl with her mother, but unfortunately it causes more harm than good. Renewal. Barry and Chester found a way to stop the Black Flame from harming anyone else. Meanwhile, Caitlin decides to take action herself, possibly putting innocent lives at risk. Death happens. With the new headquarters threatening the city, Joe confronts the local government. Meanwhile, Barry gets help from Cecil, who helps track down a serial killer. Death falls. Team Flash is under attack and everyone must save not only themselves, but each other. Funeral of a friend. Team Flash uses the distraction to rob the bank's headquarters in grief over losing someone they love. In more power, Flash is supported by XS. Meanwhile, the CCPD enlists Chester's help when a mysterious device is discovered at a crime scene. The curious case of Bartholomew Allen. The Flash explodes with a shockwave that forces his body to age prematurely. Darkness. The Flash goes offline to find answers about a new target in town. Meanwhile, Allegra reaches out to 2000 Citizen Media to protect her source and friend. Yellow Man. When a new speedster comes to town, Flash finds a lot more than he bargained for. Meanwhile, Cecile's powers are growing, allowing her to help Team Flash on a whole new level. Refuse 1. The Flash and the team are in for the fight of their lives. Meanwhile, Iris discovers the cause of her illness. Refuse 2. Still reeling from everything that happened, the Flash assembles another team to help him when he needs it most. Bombshell Blonde. After defeating the aliens and saving the Earth, the Legends are stranded in 1925 Odessa, Texas, with a dangerous surf. Wanting to help fix the situation, Astra tries to use her powers, but this draws unwanted attention from the city and the new head of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, and an unexpected surprise. She will give birth. Realizing they need to escape, Sarah and Eva distract them by tracking down Hoover and repeating his crimes. Meanwhile, Zari struggles to forget Constantine, so Bayrod offers the only help he knows. I need it fast. As the Legends plan their trip to New York, Bayrod learns that Hoover has a train ticket to Washington, D.C., and Sarah and Eva make plans. With Gary's help, Nate impersonates Hoover, but soon discovers that it's more difficult than he thought. Without the internet, Zari is forced to undergo a digital detox and become a vigilante to find out who blew up the Wave Rider. Meanwhile, Astra and Spooner live in Texas, dealing with Astra's own problems. Reverter Error 100 not found. While Astra, Spooner, and the now human Gideon try to save the Legends, Gideon is troubled by his new choices as a human and worried. Astra and Spooner work together to get into Gideon's mind and see how the virus is trying to erase all of Gideon's memories. They act quickly and make a plan to defeat the disease before it's too late. Now the Legends are about to face a powerful new enemy. Simple communication does just that. When the Legends arrive in Chicago, they find an eclectic escape, but their president incites a crowd to smoke pot. Wanting to fix things, Zari asks for help rebuilding the club, organizing a party with a special performance by the Bullet Blonde to raise money to rebuild the club. At the same time, Astra, Spooner, and Gideon are still in Chicago, and they hope to help the actresses break their relationship with the public, while trying to get closer to the Legends. Meanwhile, Gary points out something Nate doesn't know about his relationship history. It's a crazy, 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 crazy world. After Sarah, Eva, Bayrod, and Gary arrive in New York City, they follow Dr. Gwen Davis, but she is not the scientist they expected. Astra, Spooner, and Gideon try to stop the Legends from using the time machine, but face more obstacles along the way. Meanwhile, in the backpack, Nate and Zari work together on the Hoover situation and how they can work together in their future. Deus Ex WC. When Legend and Gwen finally travel back in time, their time machine malfunctions, leaving them stranded in the jungle, not knowing where or when. With Sarah and Ava stressed out, Nate takes care of everything and organizes the camp to keep everyone safe. Now, unknown to the Legends, some continue to try to destroy the anomalies that continue to emerge, which can have more consequences in history. A place for women in war! When the Legends arrive in 1940 Seattle, they find themselves in the middle of World War II with a surprising guest. Sarah, Eva, Astra Spooner, and Gideon, who lack the spare parts to repair their time machine, work with the Roses in different parts of the aircraft factory. Astra is troubled by the inconsistency of the workforce and tries to take matters into her own hands. Meanwhile, Bayred offers hospitality and helps teach Nate about Persian culture and etiquette. Paranoid Robot. Sarah begins to notice that the group is making questionable choices about the menu. As Sarah tries to find out what's behind it all, she discovers some hard truths. Adverse reactions are common. When Gideon flies through the palace in his time machine, he falls into hell, and Astra discovers that the crew from a 1990s reality show has entered the palace and destroyed. Unbeknownst to the legends, emotions are running rampant on the reality TV team, and Sarah and Eva talk about their true feelings about their roles as leaders. Bayred asks Nate and Zari for advice about Astra, but Bayred finds out about her past. Now, no one can predict what will happen if Gideon's feelings are ignored and he rejects his relationship with Gary. Fixed point. The Legends are tired of being chased by the evil AI, so Sarah decides to create an anomaly that will allow the team to defeat the evil Wave Rider. However, the Legends find themselves in the Traveler's Restaurant and quickly find this haunted place popular with time travelers, so Sarah doubts her chances of success. As Bayred and Astra grow closer, Zari and Spooner are forced into an uneasy relationship as the Legends join forces on a mission. Eva overhears Gwen's plan to save her lover and is forced to remind her of the consequences if she succeeds. Angry at the machine, Sarah and Gwen come up with a plan to lure the Robo-Legends and take the Wave Rider with them. The stand is very good. With Gideon in pain, the Legends have only one way to save him. As the evil Gideon pushes, he continues to finish the story until Gideon reminds him of some task he needs to do. Gideon tries to save the Legends, but breaks the most important law they have to agree to. Now, Legends come up with another plan that can solve all the problems. Knockout. Expulsion. All the Legends were disappointed and hurt by Gideon's actions, but Gideon was horrified when Gideon's AI told Gary, wanting to get back to the job they love. They realize Gwen has broken the deal and they need to find her. Meanwhile, Sarah is keeping a big secret from Eva because she doesn't know what he's doing. What's underneath? Lois and Clark compete as a couple. Chrissy became accustomed to running the Smallville Gazette with Lois. Jonathan faces new challenges on the soccer team. A secret threatens to destroy Jordan and Sarah's growing relationship. Bond that binds. Clark tells Lois about his ongoing struggle with his vision and admits that only one person can help. Meanwhile, Lana receives unexpected news and tensions begin to rise between Lois and Chrissy. Sarah finally breaks her plans with Jordan to spend her time with Natalie. It's about minds. Lois goes to Rhett. General Lane, who plays Clark, has Clark's visions worsen during a heated argument with Jonathan and Jordan. Meanwhile, Lana shares her own frustrations with Kyle. Natalie finally learns that his father did not keep his promise to him. Reverse method. Lois and Chrissy search for Lois' sister Lucy, and Jonathan and Jordan become increasingly uneasy as Clark's haunting visions continue. Meanwhile, Lana, Kyle, and Sarah share breakfast with their families and discuss Sarah's upcoming wedding. Finally, Natalie and her father share a bonding moment. Honey, you will soon be a woman. Lana, Kyle, and Sarah prepare for Sarah's bar mitzvah, but things ultimately don't go as smoothly as they had hoped. Clark is racked with guilt over what happened to John Irons. Lois says she is worried that she may have made a mistake with Allie. Meanwhile, Jonathan gets to know Rhett. General Samuel Lane plans to train Jordan. Finally, Chrissy finds out her truth about Lois. Tried and true. Lois tells Clark that she and Chrissy plan to dive deeper into the reverse society, and Lana and Sarah try to comfort each other after the incident at Sarah's bar mitzvah. Meanwhile, Jordan discovers something suspicious in Jonathan's bag. Lastly, a criticism of Lehman bag. Mitch Anderson on Superman's deteriorating relationship with the Pentagon. Anti-hero. Superman asks the lieutenant. Anderson investigates Allie Alston, and Lois receives some very shocking news. Meanwhile, Lois helps Lana prepare for a good fight. Finally, Jordan is still angry that Jonathan lied to him. I forgot! Lois, Clark, and Natalie notice differences in John Henry's behavior and fear something is wrong. Meanwhile, Kyle has an awkward moment with Lana when he stopped by her house to pick Sarah up from school. Finally, Jonathan and Jordan realize that their parents' conversation had begun and they get ready. 30 days, 30 nights. Lois thanks Lana for standing up for Jonathan when one of her mother's soccer players began stalking him because soccer season was canceled. Meanwhile, on the day of the mayoral election, Jordan's unexpected departure leaves Sarah confused. Lastly, Natalie and Sarah don't care if they notice sparks flying between John Henry and Lana. Visa to a strange world. Superman follows Allie Alston through a portal, but when he reaches the other side, he discovers that everything in this parallel world is strange. Fighting his way through familiar faces and landscapes, Superman engages in a fierce fight to stop Allie's fusion. Truth and consequences. Jonelle is still smiling with Lois, who is standing on the front porch with Jordan. John L. notices Jonathan's lover standing nearby. He jumps at him and Jordan tries to intervene, but John L. seems to be stronger and faster than him. Lies that bind. Clark swims in front of Lana. Meanwhile, Jordan and Jonathan wonder if Lois and Clark are doing all the talking. Finally, Natalie does her best to help Sarah recognize Jordan. Everyone left. Clark and Lois argue about the best way to determine if Ellie Alston has gone to the inverted world. Meanwhile, John Henry makes a surprising discovery and Lois tries to find Lucy. Strange World War. Lois is tired of watching Superman by his bedside. Meanwhile, Jonathan and Jordan are still worried about their father, who seems more human than ever. Finally, John Henry and Natalie work together to find the best way to defend against Ellie Alston's powers. Waiting for Superman. Secretary of Defense Chrissy Beppo has a message for the residents of Smallville. Planetary mergers are not only real, they are happening.
It's all the same thing. Thank you for the registration question?